Okay, so my emphasis now will be how to prevent depression among children, especially the teens, adolescents, and even the young adults. So first of all, we emphasized on providing the necessary parental support for these young people. What are these necessary parental supports? Being there for them when they need you. You don't need to spend all your time working when you know that you have youngsters at home. It goes a long way for you to be able to spend that time with them, especially this holiday period. Create some times to be involved in some activities with them. With this, it will create that sense of closeness between the parent and child. And guess what? Study shows that if you support and provide that warmth for your children, that there is that lesser tendency to develop depression and vice versa. So that means if you as a parent create time for your children, there is that less tendency for them to develop depression, and there is a higher tendency for for children whose parents never had that time for them to develop depression, or at times go into wild activities like drugs, addicts, and all that. So it is good to provide good parental support and warmth for your child. Number two, encourage your children to seek purpose. Be really involved in such a way that they discover their purpose in life. Because when once they are so determinant about their purpose, they'll be encouraged to pursue it with all their mind and strength. Okay? For example, a child gets involved in an athletic activities. Okay, this child should not view it as, okay, I'm just representing my school in this, but rather he can seek to say, okay, I want to be the fastest runner. That is purpose. Now, if that child is encouraged in that manner, he or she will see it as an adventure to be totally committed to. And you know what? That these activities goes a long way to off distractions, and it goes a long way to give them that focus, and at the end reduce any form of depression. So encourage them to seek purpose. Encourage them to seek meaning to their lives. At that little age, they should be able to identify who they are, what they want to become, how they want their lives to look like in the nearest future. With that, it will give them a sense of humor, a sense of concentration. So please, always encourage your children. You can do that by telling them stories of great people, how they started. It is very important. Children like motivation. They like stories. They like anything that can give them that, oh, so this person was able to do it. For example, when I heard the story of Ben Carson, it went a long way to teach me that no matter how um, dull a child is, that if a parent is involved in that child can be better. Do you know what Ben Carson's mother did? He took away every form of distraction and make sure that the children were so occupied with their books, gave them time to read, reduce the time for television, and not as if they were not watching television again. They were still watching their television, but yet he gave them time to also study their books. And so someone that went from the worst student in class came up as the best. And today he's ranked among the best surgeons in the world. Wouldn't you like your child to be that? Ben Carson developed and found that purpose at a little age. Why? Because a mother, a parent was involved in his life. So that goes a long way to tell you that if you create this sense of purpose in your children, they will not need to be going into negative relationship just to find purpose. So you have a lot of work to do in that aspect. It's very important. Yes, it's necessary because God created you to fall into that position and be able to do it and execute it better. Another aspect of it is being able to teach them how to develop positive relationship. Do you know that relationships go a long way to affect your child? You may not know, but let me tell you that now. Relationship goes a long way to affect your child. Now, talk about it in this way. A child grows up and meets a fellow child, okay, a fellow teenager or a fellow adolescent. They come together. If this person was also a well-groomed person that seeks purpose, they work together, they actualize their purpose. This one becomes an encouragement to the other. And because of that, they grow up being able to fend for themselves, being able to fight for each other, and being able to motivate and care for each other, being able to motivate each other to achieve their goals. So in that case, this one is able to help this one out of this. When once he remember, oh, because of this person I need to do this, it wipes away any form of insecurity. So those are positive relationships we are talking about. Research shows that when a child lacks positive relationship, okay, a child is withdrawn to himself, it's as a result of not being able to mingle very well. So, but if you teach your child to mingle and being able to see that he or she is never a less person, that he'll be able to develop that sense of confidence in himself, and which will go a long way to reduce depression. Also, as parents, you need to teach and model strong social and emotional skills. Example, changing friends, disappointment, relationship, academic work stress. For example, a child gets admission into the university. The university is a very different ball game from college, the nursery school, the primary school, the secondary school. It's a very different ball game. He or she will need to go through registration and all that. The stress is much. Like in my school, you enter in, within the first 6 months, you need to study. And if at all one fails, you are asked to leave the school, and all your 6 months of effort is wasted. But if you model positive relationship to take for these children to take disappointment as a normal part of life and learn from it, they'll be able to cope through that period. Imagine someone being able to going into school and leaving after 6 months. Seriously, it can cause a form of depression, but it takes the strong-hearted to be able to do that. And how can this be achieved? The parents should need to model, tell them stories of how they were disappointed in one thing or the other, how they were able to scale through. Yes, they want to hear these things as a kind of motivation, but a parent that doesn't have time for these children, or a parent that doesn't even know anything about this, may not be able to do that. So that's why it's necessary to read, watch this YouTube, share it to others, so that they'll be able to cope, and they'll be able to act in any of these situations when it happens. Also, a study shows that parents respond to their teens' distress during stressful tasks impacts how teens are able to handle anxiety in their real world. How do you respond to your teen or your child when he or she is distressed? This will go a long way to make the child be conscious of how he or she is going to react in the real world. Yes, so because he has seen a role model, someone that can tell you, okay, this challenge is not the end of life, you can still move on. It is very important. So also, treat each child as an individual. You should never compare your child to the other. Two children are different. For example, I have two children. I have a boy and I have a girl. My young son is a kind of very observant person. He will tell you, see, and if you don't act towards him, he is going to carry your hand and get there. Then he will show you this is this. So he is a kind of persuasive person. But my daughter, on the other hand, she cries like the day is going to run out. By the time she cries, you not even need to know, ask what is happening. You need to run helter-skelter. So those are two individuals. Their response to stress, their response to activities are different. So if you want to treat this one the way this other person is being treated, then you notice that you may end up missing out one of them. Why? Because your responses are the same. So in this case, you need to appeal, you need to, in one way or the other, approach it intelligently. Being able to treat each person as a different individual is very important. Stop that aspect of comparison. As a parent, you need to stop comparing your child to others. I tell you, the two children can never be the same. Now, parents do these mistakes of comparing one child to the other. Now, you compare your child in terms of academics, in terms of their responses, in terms of this and that. It's very wrong. So, instead of comparing, what you should do, you should be able to use their weakness to create a positive aspect of them, which is very important. Now, people contemplate suicide on daily occasions. Why? Because of one pain or the other. But if you are able to show them, okay, because of this aspect of you, you can find a purpose in this. Now, for example, indoor children that are indoors just like staying indoors, they don't like going out. Do you know they can develop a sense of purpose in that child? Now, you don't need to compare that child to someone that is outgoing, that likes meeting with friends and all that. You can develop a sense of purpose, turn that child into a reader. By the time he or she reads and is able to gain value, going to gain the necessary wisdoms and knowledge, you can expose that child, let people know the wealth of wisdom that person is, instead of making the child to be going out these activities that he or she may not be interested in. But when once you try to force him or her into doing most of these activities, you end up closing the chapter of that child's future. This is what parents have been doing, and it's not good. It can even send that child to depression when once he goes out and he sees his mates reporting, playing out and all that, and he or she cannot. It may make that child to have that sense of guilt, sense of worthlessness. Oh, why can't I relate like other people are relating? So you should be able to see that there is nothing wrong with that child. Rather, you should be able to develop something out of that. So as a parent, you need all the amount of creativity too. So it's very important. This will go a long way to reduce all forms of depression. Also, try and develop activities for your children. Try and develop activities for your children. For example, teach them how to play Ludo. Do you know that when a child has a kind of diversional therapy, diverting his or her interests from some parts of academics and gets to something relaxational, it goes a long way to stabilize his mental health. So indoor games like Ludo should be included. Choose your children how to play chess. It's very important as parents, and so many others, and I'm going to bring it up as soon as possible. I just want to have these facts and use it to the growth and improvement of your child. Till I see you next time, make sure you subscribe to this channel. My name is Blessing once again. I'm a nurse, and I want to see you more in my next videos. God bless you.